The king must confess before the entire village, or else Umaya will never hear the cry of a baby. Once upon a time, in the village of Umaya, there lived a young maiden named Amara. She was known for her remarkable beauty, catching the attentions of many bachelors. However, Amara had a different desire from most maidens. She longed to marry for love, not for wealth or social status. Although Amara had reached the age of marriage, she chose to live with her beloved grandmother, Mama Nana, who respected her wishes and joined her in praying for true love. One day, Amara went to the stream to fetch water, and there she encountered a man dressed as a hunter. The man asked for some water, and Amara kindly offered him water, and in return he gave her some bush meat he had caught. After that day, Amara could not help but think about the man named Chidi, and she hoped to see him again at the stream. So she visited the stream frequently, filled with anticipation, but Chidi did not show up. As the days passed, the villagers prepared for the annual festival. This festival was a special event where bachelors from Umaya and the neighboring villages had the opportunity to choose a maiden. Prince Jetta, along with other bachelors, eagerly prepared to make their selection. Amara, though not excited as the other maiden, decided to attend the festival. The atmosphere during the festival was filled with excitement and anticipation. Maidens dressed in their beautiful Akara clothes practiced their dancing step, while young bachelors ready themselves to choose their future partners. Amara, although not skilled in dancing, adorned herself in her favourite Ankara attire. The moment came for the maidens to dance, and Amara found herself at the far end of the row, dancing with a smile as if she knew her destined partner was there. Prince Jetta, captivated by Amara's beauty, chose her by placing his palm wine cup in front of her. Other bachelors followed suit, making their selections. In a customary tradition, the maiden was expected to drink from the palm wine cup and return it to the owner to seal the union. But if the maiden did not accept the man as her husband, she would return the palm wine cup without drinking from it. Amidst the beating of the drum, Amara scanned the crowd and picked up the palm wine cup placed in front of her. To everyone's shock, she returned it to the prince without taking a sip. The match was considered complete, and the maidens who drank from the palm wine cup were announced as the wives of the bachelor who owns the palm wine cup. The news of Amara rejecting Prince Yetta soon spread throughout the village, making her the center of attraction. Rumors began to spread, with some claiming that she must have a spiritual husband, while others accused her of being a mami water. But despite all this, Amara continued with her life, hoping to one day meet Chidi again at the stream. Eventually, fate brought them together, and Chidi revealed his identity as a hunter from Itowa and expressed his interest to come and see her people. Excitedly, Amara rushed home to share the news with her grandmother, who intently spread the words to their relative far and near. In just a week, Amara and Shidi were set to meet, and the news of Amara's upcoming marriage spread like wildfire in the village, sparking curiosity among the villagers. However, Prince Jetta, upon hearing about Amara's upcoming marriage, was consumed by anger and resentment, and so he conspired with his friends to teach Amara a lesson. 2 days before Shidi's visit to make Amara his wife, tragedy struck. Prince Jetta and his friend kidnapped Amara and forcefully lay with her. Amara, having struggled to break free from their grip, passed out and woke up to find herself lying by the bush path. The entire village surrounded her, and she pleaded for help, but no one agreed to help her, as they all believed she had gone to sleep with a man who dumped her in the bushy path. Amara cried out for help as she was in so much pain, but all the villagers looked at her in disgust, and only one young girl walked up to her, covered her up with a wrapper, and offered to take her home. Amara was so grateful to the young girl for her help and thanked her for showing compassion when everyone else turned her down. The young girl accompanied Amara to her hut and bid her farewell once Amara was stable. Mama Nana was not present when Amara got home, so Amara was left in trauma, as she had never expected the Prince of Umaya to be so wicked and heartless. And when she thought of how the villagers treated her, she wept bitterly till she slept off. Amara could not bring herself to eat or leave the house for the next 3 days, until Mama Nana, who went to receive treatment from the neighbouring village, came back. Mama Nana was worried over the news that accused Amara of sleeping with a man and being dumped by the bush path. She was determined to help Amara, but first she wanted to hear her side of the story. So Mama Nana persuaded Amara to eat that evening, and to her delight, Amara ate a full meal. After dinner, Amara tearfully narrated the event to her grandmother, who could not help but weep as well. The next morning, Mama Nana decided to visit the king, hoping to report the incident of the previous evening, but the king refused to give her a listening ear. Heartbroken, Mama Nana returned home without revealing her visit to the palace to Amara, because she does not want to cause her more pain. Amara, seeking justice, decided to visit the palace alone to report the incident that happened to the king. She got to the palace and was greeted by the prince, who ordered the guards not to let her see the king. Amara insisted she will not leave until she sees the king, and so the prince ordered the guards to throw her out. Consumed by sorrow, Amara lived as merry shadow of her former self, waking and sleeping with tears in her eyes. She regretted going to the stream that fateful day. She regretted attending the Mashi festival of the year. And above all, she regretted being born in the village of Umaya. She blamed herself for being weak and unable to defend herself against the priest and his friends. Mama Nana, in her attempt to make her granddaughter heal fast, advised Amara to not talk about her bitter story. But 2 months later, Amara discovered she was pregnant. Mama Nana could not just sit back and watch her granddaughter's life crumble. So she and Amara together visited the palace, determined to report the result of the incident to the king. This time they were allowed to see the king, and Amara with tears narrated everything that happened that fateful day. But to her greatest surprise, the prince appeared and told the king that she, Amara, was the one who tried to seduce them. The king took sides with his son, leaving Amara to deal with the pregnancy alone. Not long afterward, the news of Amara's pregnancy got to every end of the village, and she became a subject to mockery and ridicules, with no one caring to hear her side of the story. People whispered rumours and intentionally humiliated her whenever she passed by. The maidens who had always despised her would start singing, "How are the mighty falling like Amara? How are the mighty falling like Amara?" Whenever they saw her coming, Amara became a laughing stock for the men whose proposal she once rejected. One fateful day, Amara found herself at the village square, unlashing her story with a loud voice. The villagers, taken by surprise, laughed and shook their heads, concluding that Amara had finally gone mad. However, the young girl who had once helped Amara appeared and offered her his support. On their way to Amara's house, the young girl said to her, "I believe everything you say, and I know you deserve justice for what happened to you. But for the sake of your baby, please stop crying." Amara, with eyes filled with gratitude, hugged the young girl and said, "Thank you so much for believing in me." And that night, Amara went into early labour. Mama Nana did everything she could to save Amara and her baby, but Amara had lost her will to continue living in a world that had shown her no mercy. Tragically, she died after giving birth to a baby boy. Filled with sorrow, Mama Nana looked into the baby's eyes and named him Obiara, meaning the heart of the world. The news of Amara's death reached the king and the villagers, but they carried on as if nothing had happened, disregarding the customary 24 hours mourning period for the death of any villagers. Amara's son, Obiara, was stigmatized for being born out of wedlock. He faced harsh judgment from others. He was called a bastard and was treated like an outcast, but he remained strong because his great-grandmother was with him. Mama Nana had taught him to affirm positivity, and every morning he would declare, "I am a bright child, not a bastard. I may have no mother, but I have a father. I am a blessing to my village, not a curse. I will make my late mother proud." However, Mama Nana could not stay with Obiara forever due to her old age. So, one day, Obiara woke up to find Mama Nana dead. The death of the only family Obiara ever had shattered him, as he was now left to fend for himself. But miraculously, the young girl who had once helped Amara returned, now the priestess of Umaya. She became his constant source of support. treating him like a younger brother and providing him comfort. It has been 20 years since the land of Umayyah heard the cry of a baby. The king had married 7 times from 7 different villages but still had no heir. Couples who had married 20 years ago had not been able to conceive. The villagers, desperate for solution, turned to the priestess for guidance. The priestess, Adako, revealed that the land of Umayyah was cursed due to an injustice done to Amara years ago. To break the curse, the king must confess before the entire village what happened to Amara, or else the land of Umayyah will never hear the cry of a baby. The king was shocked to discover his past actions were responsible for their plight, but he could not bring himself to confess before the villagers, as he feared they would reject him. So he said to himself, I would rather not have an heir than confess a crime I did not commit alone. The villagers, having waited for King Jetta's confession, began to visit the palace. The men and women of Umayyah made it their morning duty to go to the palace to plead with King Jetta, but he refused to confess. The maidens and the bachelors of Umayyah joined the plea by going to the palace every afternoon to plead with the king to confess, but still he remained adamant. The king's wife joined the plea as they all went to the king's chamber every evening to cry and plead with him to confess so that they too could bear children, but the king refused. But after being haunted in his sleep by the cry of the people of Umayyah, King Jetta no longer had peace during the day and even at night. So he finally made up his mind to confess. A day was set and the entire village gathered to witness the king's confession. Tearfully, he admitted for the first time what he and his friend did to Amara. Many years ago, Amara was an innocent maiden who knew no man until I, Eda Kelechi, and Chief Wankego forcefully took advantage of her and to cover up our sins. I paid a newsmonger to spread the rumor that Amara slept with a strange man and was dumped in the bush path. The people of Umayyah could not believe their ears as they heard what really happened to Amara. They all wept bitterly for the role they played in the injustice done to Amara. That day, with tears, the village of Umayyah observed a 24 hours mourning for Amara, renouncing the cruel words they said about her. And to clear the land of every evil, they rejected King Jetta and his friends from leadership position. And since the king had no heir, Obiara was chosen to be the new king of Umayyah. To prevent further injustice, King Obiara established a community that investigated cases and ensured justice and punishment are well served to those who were wrong, regardless of their status, family background, or age. Moral lesson. There are so many moral lessons in this story, and I would love to hear one from you. Please tell me one thing you learned from the story in the comment below. And please guys, do not forget to support this channel by subscribing and sharing this story with your loved ones. Thank you so much guys for watching. See you in our next story. Bye.